Hello, I'm Dr. Guy Yatros from Dental Sleep Solutions and DS3 Software. I'm going to show you today how to move a hook forward on a tap appliance. The indication for this is the patient is still having some symptoms. We want to get some further advancement, and as you can see, the hook is all the way forward on the advancement mechanism. And so what we want to do is we're going to move this plate forward and then we'll actually back the screw back up, so now he has further advancement to go. So all you need is an acrylic burr. There's a little wing underneath this metal here that you just got to grind down to turn us down a bit. Get this wing all off here. You can see that metal wing that's underneath there now. Just get all the acrylic off of it. Now get the other side. Wings starting to appear underneath there. Get the majority of the acrylic off of it. And then probably a little bit in the front you got to get off too. Kind of expose that. Generally it'll make it pop off easier. So now you can see the wing. I don't know if you can see that. That's the wing that's exposed. And I don't happen to have a buffalo knife with me for some reason, but a buffalo knife works best, but if you can get something underneath it, and then it pops loose just like that. Okay, now what our goal here is to kind of decide how far forward we're going to move that. So we're probably going to move it, in the neighborhood of, 4 millimeters or so. So we'll position it there, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a few moments. I'm going to go ahead and mix up the acrylic. You all know how to do that, so you don't have to watch that, and then we'll resume with me putting this back in place. Put the hook on. One thing you want to do before you do it is make some kind of roughen up the acrylic a little bit so it'll bond, and make some little grooves. Retention grooves don't hurt to put in there, so I went ahead and did that. Got the acrylic mixed up, fairly liquidy, as you can see. So I'm going to take a drop, put it right on the acrylic here, get it nice and wet so it'll bond. And then we're going to take this acrylic, just place it on here, and you need enough so as you can see this is going to stick out in front of his lip a little bit, so we're going to make it nice and smooth in the front so that that metal's not poking anyone. Of course we want to make sure we get the hook on the right way. I've had people do that not right, and you want to get it centered too, so important to get it in the center and to not have it crooked. And we got it about like that. So I moved it, it looks like about maybe 4 or 5 millimeters more forward, which is about all I can take. Now make sure you get it overlapping that wing. Remember the wings that we uncovered? You want to make sure you've got material to go on top of that wing as you put it back into place. Like that, and take some liquid. Make it go nice and smooth on that. Smooth that all down. Important, of course, not to get it in the groove on the mechanism on the track there. You don't want to mess that up. But here's the key place in the front too, to make sure it's nice and smooth, because it's going to protrude out a little bit more obviously now, and we don't want it to be rough to the patient's lip. Plenty of liquid makes this smoothing process much better. As you can see, I have gloves on, not just for reasons to cross contamination, but also it really, I think, makes this process a little easier. So get it as smooth as we can with our fingers, and then I'm going to put it in the pressure pot in a minute. The pressure pot I use is one that we usually put hot water in. You can see we have a hot water pot here. I won't be doing that today because this is thermocryl. So we have made that mistake before. Then you drop the thermocryl in, and of course you messed up how this fits in the patient's mouth. So we have just regular cold water or room temperature water in our pot, and this pot I usually put it in a sink because when you fill it all the way full, it kind of overflows and it keeps from making a mess. And so I've got a little bit more on there than I need, as you can see, but that's okay. We'll smooth that up. Like I say, the key thing is having enough in the front to where it's not going to be rough to his lip right there. So that's pretty much ready to go in the pot now. I'll smooth down the rest after we take it out. And we've moved it about 4 millimeters forward. I want to make sure it's not crooked. Well, I'm glad I took another look at that. It is just slightly. I'll twist it just a little bit. As I look at it now, you can see it's straight, obviously going in that direction. So, and there's the front of it where we built the acrylic out to support us. So here's the pot we use. And you get this for a few $100s. And again, as you see, just drop it in there flat, hook up, and we're going to put the lid on it and just overflow the water. And tighten it down. Try to get up to about 30 pounds of pressure if we can on this. So as we turn it, I didn't do it, which happens sometimes. I didn't have enough water in it, so that's good that we can show you that. Yeah, I got to get this thing centered. I didn't have it in there all the way. So again, you just put much water until it kind of overflows into the sink. And then getting this lid on here centered and tighten it down will make a less porosity in the final one. So I didn't get quite up, but you can see the gauge went up. And I got it up to about 10, which if I can get it to 30, sometimes I'm happier with that. So that's all there is to that. I'll smooth it down in just a moment, and that's how you advance the tap. So we have it relatively smooth now, and make sure when you do this that you finish it so that this doesn't stick out above here so it catches the hook. Polish it however you would your normal acrylic. We use these polishing points, a coarse, and then a medium, and then the fine one will do. So I'll turn the pressure or the speed back on this a little bit so we don't tear this apart. And then we just smooth it up to get it with these points. Go through each stage. Oh, you can quit. That's good enough for that. Okay, and then we use the fine one. Turn that one up just a little more. Get a nice smooth finish on it. So there you have it, all nice and smooth. Again, making sure this is smooth in the front since we've extended it out a little bit. Okay, got it nice and polished. And then lastly, don't forget to back the hook up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to back the hook back up, and then when the patient comes in, we're going to try this in the mouth and make sure that we have this hook up about where he was with it forward, and then we have another 4 or 5 millimeters a protrusive motion to go forward. So now we back the hook back up. So that's what it looks like with the hook back, and we're good to go. That took about 10 minutes total of my time, not including the waiting on it, setting up. Maybe it's slightly less than that. So it doesn't take that long, so it's much easier than sending it to the lab. And the real quick way of doing this, I can do this in about 10 seconds. What you do is you train one of your assistants to do this, let them watch it the first time, and the next time you say, Melissa, go ahead and do this for me, and then you can go have coffee or something. So literally your assistants can do this after watching it once. So no reason to send these back to the lab, it's just to move the hook forward. Thanks a lot. There's your tip from Dental Sleep Solutions in DS3. Thank you.